Hello and good evening, Chicago. Welcome back to another episode of Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Going to be just a quick one tonight, just a little bit of a 40-minute episode. We just had the start of 8 divisions in 8 days wrap up with the NFC West. Larry B doing that preview with tons of good guests lined up there for that. And then we've got Taryn Rodriguez coming up right after us with a guest tonight on Set Point. So I had to readjust the schedule a little bit, but we will do the best we can with the time that we've got. Lots of baseball conversation to be had tonight then. We have made it to the All-Star break. Woo! It felt like it took a while, but we made it. White Sox and Cubs, not quite maybe where we thought they would be when the season started, when we got here, but we're here. We will take a look at how the teams are doing, who some of the prime important pieces have been for them through the official first half of the season, and what do we expect from the second half when things get going. We have to push over the final 70 games left on the calendar or so. All that, plus if we can get in, we've got some Bears thoughts, some Sky thoughts, and some Blackhawks news if we can get to it. All that and more coming up on Chi-Town Weekly. Buckle it on up, everybody. Let's have some fun. And good evening, everyone. Once again, welcome on in. I am Adam Karnik, your host here on Chi-Town Weekly. Thank you so much for once again coming and joining us. Again, going to be just a short little show tonight. I had to do some scheduling rearrangements. 3 and Out began today, and due to some technical difficulties beyond everybody's control, that show wasn't able to get off the ground until several hours later than it was expected. And then Taryn Rodriguez is going to be coming up right after us, and he's got a guest lined up tonight, one of the coaches from the National Volleyball Association. So I agreed that we would just shorten our show up a little bit, just so that everybody else could have enough time to do what it is they needed to do. So without any further ado, then let's dive on into what we've got going on tonight. Starting, of course, with our sponsors here at IE Sports Radio, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. Find them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, Instagram at Southern California _Warriors, or just go to Facebook, Southern California Warriors. And IE Sports Radio is available for you, all the major social platforms, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just search at IE Sports Radio, because for the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans. And with your help, we are ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment. thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. And I want to thank our Patreon supporters, Bay Area Raised, Emlos Great, Key to the Gate, and our anonymous sponsor. It really does help. For example, IE Sports Radio now, we've always been partnered with USRN and with WSR. You've sometimes have heard their drops where guys like Pierre and Matthew Owens do live calls of games. Well, now, thanks to our help from our Patreon supporters, IE Sports Radio is able to be on Mixlr as well, doing live calls of games. We've been doing a lot of Major League Soccer this summer, but we've also had NBA. We have had other games going on as well. So it is thanks to our Patreon supporters' help that's in part able to help make us able to do things like that. So thank you for your support. And of course, you can follow along to this show on Twitter at IESRC is where you follow along with the show's Twitter feed. I try to keep that active and going during the day. And then also, of course, you've got my personal Twitter feed at Adam_Karnik. And if you are listening live here tonight on Monday night, you can hop on into the chat room. Taryn and Larry B are both there. Good evening, gentlemen. Larry just got done, of course, with 3 hours of 3 and Out, previewing the NFC West. Had some great hosts on there. I was very, very excited to see the Rams host, the Rams guest that you had on there, Larry, Adrian. I got to go up against him last season in a 3 and Out face-off, and that was a lot of fun. Adrian's a great guy. Everybody on there that was part of it did a great job. I know our new Seattle host, Art, was on there. He broke down the Seattle Seahawks, so definitely some great stuff to check out there from that episode. So, Larry, thank you for taking time out of your night, and Taryn, of course, is going to be on right after us, breaking down all things volleyball with Set Point. So thank you, Taryn, for being here. So we want to talk baseball tonight since we've just got a short show. I mean, looking at it, we're down to just about 30 minutes left that we're going to be talking baseball tonight. So want to be talking about, of course, the White Sox and the Cubs. We have made it to the All-Star break in the calendar. The traditional first half of the MLB season, even though they've played 92 games, so a little over halfway through the calendar at this point, but the All-Star game is always the halfway mark. So where are we sitting? The White Sox currently sit right at 500. They could not be the more perfect definition of mediocre to this point in the season. 46-46 overall, third place in the American League Central. They are 3 games back of the Minnesota Twins, though only 2 games in the loss column. I have assaulted the White Sox quite a bit this season, as a lot of people have. You know, I'm not doing anything unique or anything outside the box there by being critical of Tony La Russa and Tim Anderson and the rest of the White Sox this season. Because let's face it, this was supposed to be the year. This was supposed to be the season where the regular season was supposed to just be the thing you had to get through. It was going to be 6 months of fun, but building up towards October, building up towards, all right, the season really starts in October, and now things really get serious because they're supposed to just breeze through this division. And that hasn't even been close to the case. And they have had some horrible losing streaks. They have had rotten luck as far as injuries are concerned. Eloy Jimenez seems to constantly be on the injured list, as he's there now, fresh off of a rehab stint down in the minor leagues. He comes back, plays a couple games, and immediately goes back on the IL. The offense has at times simply been non-existent, beyond frustrating. Yet, we say all that, yet they come into the All-Star break. They just took 3 out of 4 from the Twins to close what was a 5-game deficit down to a 3-game deficit in the division. And they took the last 2 games in a 4-game set against Cleveland. So they have won 5 out of their last 6 games. They have effectively just lived in the American League Central this month. And by and large, they were just squeaking by. But now they've taken 5 out of these last 6. Overall, they took 11 out of 18 games, all in the American League Central, almost all of them against either the Twins or the Guardians. They had a small stint in there against the Tigers in that stretch, I believe. Of course, I say that now I'm doubting. Nope, they had a stretch in there against the Tigers. Of course, they didn't do them any good. They dropped 2 out of 3 to the Tigers in there. But let's take those out of the equation then. They went 10-5 in 15 games against the Twins and the Guardians, the 2 teams in front of them in the division. And you look at the standings, while they're 3 games back, they're only 2 back in the loss column. They're 4 back in the win column, but that'll even itself out. The Twins have played a couple more games. They've played 94 games already. The White Sox have played 92. And the Twins don't play again until Saturday evening, I think it is. The Sox will play 2 games before the Twins even take the field because they, yet again, have a 4-game set in 3 days against the Cleveland Guardians. I am so perplexed by the White Sox in their first half. I was so ready. I was all prepared for this segment tonight, for this segment to be, all right, we need to prepare to be sellers at the trade deadline. It's coming up. I'm not saying, I wasn't going to say burn the whole thing to the ground, but it was going to be, all right, who are some veterans who are on the final year of their deal that we can look to move to get some quick turnaround prospects and just shore this thing up and come at it again next year. I was all prepared to have that show. It wasn't going to be a white flag trade. It wasn't going to be a get rid of everything. It wasn't going to be that kind of a segment. But then they take 5 out of these 6. And the way they took 5 out of 6 to finish this out. I mean, 7-0 against the Guardians. Then winning a close one, 2-1 in Cleveland. 12-2 against the Twins. 6-2 against the Twins. 11-0 against the Twins yesterday. I'm so confused by this team. I don't know what to expect or what to think or how to process all this. Suffice to say that they're just confusing as all get out. So let's look at some overall players for them, right? Okay, let's look at some guys. The top guy on the team has got to be right now Dylan Cease, the all-star that wasn't. I don't know why. I don't know how. Other than all-star voting is weird. Dylan Cease, now he threw yesterday 150 strikeouts through 92 games. He is the MLB leader, pitching leader in strikeouts with 150. An ERA at this point of 2.15, one of the tops in baseball. He's actually better. He's actually better on the road than he is at home this season with some of his splits. His road ERA is a ridiculous 1.3 earned run average. That is disgustingly good. His Ks per 9, strikeouts per 9. Opponents are hitting $197 against him. Opponents are opposing OPS is 594. That'll play. That's good. That's good. Over his last month, He's got an ERA of .74. Effectively, if you scored against him over the last 30 days, congratulations. You did better against him than most teams. To me, he's your clear-cut MVP for the first half of the season. How he did not qualify for the All-Star game is, we'll just say, surprising. I'll be nice. I'll call it a surprise that he didn't wind up in the All-Star game. Should have been. Some other obviously notable names. Tim Anderson. He is in the All-Star game. He's going to be the first White Sox shortstop in, I believe, 72 years to start in the All-Star game. 1950, I believe, was the last time the White Sox had a shortstop start the All-Star game. Tim Anderson is going to do that this year. Hitting .310 this season. He has also been a guy that's been up and down as far as injuries are concerned all season, but he's still the stir that let's try that again. The straw that stirs the drink for the White Sox. He's the guy that helps get everything started. Another guy that to me has been shockingly good, so much of a surprise, Johnny Cueto. When they signed Johnny Cueto to a minor league deal, it made sense. It was all right. They've had injuries in the starting rotation. They need a body. They need a guy. Sure, they can get Cueto up to speed, and he can give them, if he can give them 3 or 4 quality starts while they wait for some other guys to get healthy or some other guys to turn around and compete and have good numbers and have back of the baseball card type seasons, then he'll have done his job. The dude, he might be how do I want to say this? Okay, here's how I'll say it. If I'm setting up the pitching rotation after the All-Star break, because this is one of the few times you get to actually reset your rotation now is coming out of the All-Star break. Obviously, I'm throwing Cease first. I'm throwing Dylan Cease in that first game against the Guardians, but I think I'm throwing Johnny Cueto second. I think Cueto's my number 2 guy. Had you said that when the Sox first brought him up that, hey, here's going to be their number 2 starter for the rest of this season, you probably would have been nuts. I wouldn't have believed you. But he's been excellent. He's got an ERA. He's got a sub-3 ERA, a 2.8 ERA. He's in 11 starts this season. He's got 58 strikeouts. 74 innings pitched. He's going deep into games for you. Walks are a little elevated. He's 20 walks that he has thrown this season, that he's allowed this season. But he's been excellent. He has been well above what you thought you were getting. And you thought you were getting somebody that was just going to be a Band-Aid for a problem while guys like Dallas Keuchel and Lance Lynn figured themselves out. Well, Keuchel's gone, and Lynn is having a terrible season to this point. He is not the same guy that the Sox saw a season ago. He's coming off of an injury. Of course, he didn't have a spring. Nobody really had a spring training. Lance Lynn is still kind of recovering from all that. Maybe Lynn will turn it around. But Cueto has become a guy that you rely on every 5th day to just kind of stop the bleeding a little bit, if nothing else, to help calm everything down. So where to go from here if you're the White Sox? Where do you go from here? What's the next step for this team? I don't know. I I am so confused. They come out, now they got 4 games in 3 days against the Guardians straight out of the gate. This thing could still blow up in their faces. I mean, if they go out and they lay an egg against Cleveland this coming weekend, then yeah, maybe next Monday we're right back to talking about trying to sell guys off. But on the flip side, if they can stay right like they are now, and having the starting rotation continue to be excellent, and having guys like Jose Abreu wake up and continue to play well. I mean, Abreu, he always gets off to a slow start. He got off to a ridiculous start this season. Just an absurdly bad start to the season this season. But you look at, he's hitting 386 in the month of July compared to, he hit 217 in April. He's hitting over the last 2 weeks. He's hitting 391. He's got an OPS over the last 2 weeks of 991, an OPS of 979 this month. If he can stay hot, if he can continue to push, if guys like Andrew Vaughn can continue to play well, Vaughn has been an excellent contributor overall this season, but especially here lately. The last week he's been hitting the cover off the ball, hitting 393, an OPS of 1112, over the last week. If Luis Robert can get healthy, if Eloy Jimenez can stay healthy, then they might be able to set up a run. This division, there's certainly nobody's running away with this thing. The Twins are not going to run away and hide. Cleveland is not going to run away and hide. If the White Sox can rise above the mediocrity, they can have something here. I just don't know if they can do that. I still don't trust them. So I think that's where I'm at right now with the White Sox is I don't trust you. I want to believe. I want to be there. I was very surprised by this last week. But keep showing it to me. Keep showing it to me. And maybe they can add on. Maybe they can add some pieces. Maybe they could get more consistency in second base. Or get another outfielder that can be a little bit more consistent offensively. You can never have enough bullpen help. You can never have enough starting pitching. I don't know how much of that they'll actually be able to get, or how much of a difference it would make in the postseason. But maybe they don't have to sell this offseason. Maybe not. All right, we are going to take a crazy fast break. And then when we come back, we are going to take a look at the north side of town. We're going to talk about the Cubs and the first half they have had. This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this.
Damn! Green team! Set! Hey!
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Callum Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
All right, Adam Karnik back with you here on Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, direct feed for all that is sports. The Philly Sports Talk show, of course. They have a hate relationship with Kyle Schwarber. I'd love to have Kyle Schwarber back. I know he's participating in the home run derby tonight. I would love to have him back in Chicago, back with the Cubs. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. The guy's really good. One of the really good players that the Cubs just decided to give away literally for nothing. I digress. All right. We want to talk about those Chicago Cubs before we get out of here tonight. Take a look at their first half. So the Cubs, where are they sitting at? 35-57 overall, 22 games under the 500 mark, 14 and a half games out of first place in the National League Central. They are just a half game in front of Cincinnati for fourth place in the division. They have one more win than Cincinnati. They've only played one more game, in other words, than Cincinnati at this point. Not a great first half. Of course, they won yesterday. That was good. That was much needed because they had dropped their last 9 before that one. They were very much in danger of going into the All-Star break on a 10-game losing streak, and it wouldn't have been the only 10-game losing streak they've gone on this season. Still, you've got some positives to look at for the Cubs. They are in a rebuild. They are rebuilding. This is full on. We're still trying to tear it down and collect talent mode. To that end, Wilson Contreras, who is an all-star, he's going to be starting for the National League at catcher in the all-star game. He is only going to play about 7 or 8 more games, I suspect, with the Cubs before he gets traded. The trade deadline is coming up here in just a couple of weeks. We're looking here in just a couple of weeks before the trade deadline comes up. He's going to get moved. He is going to have a new home. So enjoy watching Wilson Contreras here for these next few series against the Phillies, against the Cubs, maybe even against the Giants, and then that's going to be it. I hate to say it, that's going to be it. And then he will get traded away, and that'll be that. So enjoy it while you can. Ian Happ also participating in the All-Star game for the Cubs. Good for him. Ian's had a very nice resurgence this season with the team playing pretty close to just about every day with the team. 274 average overall, 9 homers, 42 driven in, an 808 OPS, which is above league average as much as we can say. My gosh, 808 is above league average for OPS, but it is what it is. There's, not much offense in baseball right now. It's basically just hit home runs and draw walks. But Happ having a nice season overall. Had a really nice, really spectacular April and June. Rough May, kind of a rough July to this point, but still good enough to get him into the All-Star game. So good for Ian Happ. So what do we take away from the Cubs from the first half? They've been bad. Their starting pitching is virtually non-existent. Everybody has been on the injured list at one point or another Marcus Stroman, Drew Smyly, Kyle Hendricks. They've all been on the injured list at one point or another. You know, you're looking at guys like Keegan Thompson making regular starts at this point. You weren't expecting to see much of anything from him until maybe August or September, you know, to be a late season call up to get some time in there. Christopher Morel has been a wonderful guy to see, though, to see what they've gotten in him. As tough as it's been overall for this team, they've got some individual pieces. Christopher Morel has been a wonderful guy to watch, especially considering that he's basically been an infielder his entire career, but he's played a ton of center field for the team this season. You know, hitting .266 overall, an OPS of .814, and he's just been fun. He's just been fun to watch. You know, his first 26 games he got on base to start his major league career, and just the energy that he brings in. So you've got some bright spots there. Nico Horner has been excellent as of late. Seiya Suzuki, when he's been healthy, has looked very professional in his start to his baseball career, in his major league career coming over from Japan. Ian Happ having an all-star season. They may have some pieces. They're going to have to make a decision. Contreras is gone. I'd like to see them keep Ian Happ. I'd like to at least see them keep somebody. Ian Happ's a good player. He's not necessarily a superstar that I think you build the team around, but he's a good player. He's somebody that you can keep around and can contribute on a regular basis when this team is ready to compete again, hopefully sooner rather than later. Christopher Morel, it feels like, can be one of those guys. Seiya Suzuki, certainly, you feel like can be one of those guys. So they've got some pieces. But they're still a long ways off. I mean, obviously, they're obviously selling at the trade deadline. Wilson Contreras is going to be gone. David Robertson, their closer, I would be stunned if he's still here. It would make no sense whatsoever to keep David Robertson on this team. I mean, he's got a sub-1 whip. He's got an ERA that is below 2. 48 strikeouts in what? How many innings is he? 38 strikeouts in 37 and a third. 48 strikeouts in 37 and a third innings pitched this season. It makes no sense to keep a closer of that caliber on this team. Trade him, get some pieces back, see what you can. You know, guys like Rowan Wick. You know, some of those other bullpen guys. See what you can get. See what you can get for some of these guys, and just continue the addition by subtraction that is going on with the Cubs. So I don't expect very many more wins for them this season. I mean, if they're, I do want to just real quick before I'm done with the Cubs, and we got to get out of here because Taron Rodriguez is coming up here in just a few minutes with Set Point. He's going to be, he's got one of the head coaches in the National Volleyball Association lined up as a guest tonight. I'm sorry, Taron, I'm trying to find the name of the guest here. I'm sorry. You had it on there. I will keep looking for that. Carlo Edra of the New Jersey Freedom is going to be on with Taron Rodriguez right after us, so we got to make sure that we're out of here right on time tonight. Be sure to stick around for that. Taron does an excellent job. You will learn something about volleyball, I promise. I do want to address David Ross for the Cubs real quick before we get out of here. Some people have thrown out the idea that should Ross see out the season, because obviously the Cubs are losing. The Cubs are designed to lose. You could have the greatest manager out there, and this roster would not be winning. David Ross has been doing an excellent job with what he has. I think it would be foolish to get rid of David Ross at this point. I'm still very much in his corner. I think it would be absolutely absurd and ridiculous that David Ross would get fired, but Tony La Russa would still be here, because the job that La Russa has done with the roster he has is damn criminal, what he has done. That man has no business being in his chair. So if David Ross goes first, that would be horrible. Now, it could just simply because the Cubs are less idiotic than the White Sox front office is, but that's a whole other, we don't have time to get into that. So a couple more news and notes before we get out of here real quick. The Chicago Sky just continue to keep playing tremendous basketball. An excellent win over Dallas a couple nights ago. Come from behind without Courtney Vandersloot. They had their most assists they've had as a team this season without Vandersloot, who's just a quarterback out there on the court. Vandersloot's been out missed the game with a concussion. Hopefully she will come back soon. But the Chicago Sky just keep continuing to win. Good on them. The Bears made a trade for a wide receiver, N'Keal Henry, from the New England Patriots. I love the trade. All they gave up was a future 7th round pick. I cannot be upset with that. I like that. And then finally, just breaking earlier today, the Blackhawks. My gosh, the Blackhawks really are intent on getting rid of anybody that's got any talent in that organization at all, apparently. Eddie Olczyk is not going to return to the club as their color commentator on broadcasts. After having that position for the last 16 seasons, Eddie Olczyk has instead taken the same job with the Seattle Kraken, where his brother is the assistant general manager. Also, Eddie's son, Nick, who did some broadcasting with the team this season, also will not be back with the team. So the Olczyk family leaving the Blackhawks broadcast booth. That is a shame. Eddie is an amazing broadcaster. I mean, he's done so many national games, both for NBC Sports when they had the NHL and this season for TNT when they've been starting off with their NHL coverage. Eddie is a fantastic guy to listen to for hockey. You want to learn about hockey, listen to Eddie Olczyk do color commentary. You will learn something while watching one of his games. It is too bad that he's not going to be with the team anymore. He will definitely be missed on the broadcast. Best of luck out there in Seattle with the Kraken. Hopefully he enjoys calling games out there in the Emerald City. All right, that is going to do it for our show here tonight. Again, just a short show due to some schedule rearranging and things going on around the network. So just a short show tonight. Want to say thank you again to our Patreon supporters, Bay Area Raised, Emlos Great, Key to the Gate, and Anonymous. Thank you for your continued support, not only of this show, but of all the shows here on the station. Huge thank you to Larry B. All the hard work you do behind the scenes, keeping things going. And thank you for hopping into the chat a little bit tonight, Larry. I appreciate it. Taryn Rodriguez, of course, thank you for being in the chat, man. You are always here. You are with every show, every day on the station. It is very much appreciated. Stick around for Taryn as he breaks down the National Volleyball Association with the head coach of the New Jersey Freedom. As for me, I will be back on breaking down all things hockey with Zach Pumples tomorrow on the Neutral Zone, and then we will be right back here next Monday night talking Bears. Training camp will be in session. We're going to be all about it. We'll see you then.